This
Programming
conference will
from the
now be
past 3 days.
recorded.
Okay. Why, sir? Why you are saying like that? Up to now, we discussed so many things. They were not programmed. They were programming only, but the real stuff means what is used in the real time. So those components we started just 3 days back. So all the other things were like the support stuff. See what is program, how can we understand the program, what are the steps that we follow in programming. So those were the things that we discussed, and then from the past 2 days we are discussing about the components. So components which will make up the program, components which will make up the program. So that is what we were discussing. So in that, the first thing that we discussed about was variables. Okay, so variables, literals, and today we are going to talk about the data types. So this is where your programming starts evolving. Okay, so the real-time programming starts evolving. So when somebody is writing a program, so the primary things are data. Data means literals. Data means literals. Okay, just I'll make a note. Okay, because most of you are here. Maybe here and there you might not have heard some classes. So today's topic actually is data types. But before data types, what we need to know is, so we need to know about literals. Did I start? Yeah. So right. So we talked about literals. So what were literals basically? What were literals? Literals are nothing but the data members. What are literals? Literals are nothing but the data members. Data. So always what is important for a program? Data. So without data, I cannot move forward a little bit also. Not only in programming, everywhere. Everywhere, what is important? Data is important. So in programming, what are data? Data are nothing but the literals. Data are nothing but the literals. So what kind of literals that we talked about? We talked about numeric literals. We talked about numeric literals. Numeric literals means numbers. Numeric literals means numbers. Okay. So literals, okay, just I'll write one line for everything. So literals are what? Literals are the data parts of the program. What are literals, sir? Literals are the data parts of the program. Okay. So how many types of literals we have seen, sir? We actually have seen, okay. So numeric literals. What we have seen? Numeric literals. So what were numeric literals are basically, numeric literals means numbers. Numeric literals means numbers. So what are the kinds of numbers that we have seen, sir? We have seen integers. Sir, what are integers, sir? Integers are nothing but 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 plus or minus 3 and so on. Point number one. So numeric literals are numbers. So they do not have any decimal point. They do not have any decimal point. So when we talk about the next ones, what are the next ones? Float point numbers. So what are float point numbers, sir? The numbers with the decimal points. You have the numbers with the decimal points. Yes, 4.56, 3.81. So these kind of things are called float point numbers. Okay. Then we will go for the third numbers, which are not very much used, as I've told you already, which are complex. So complex means they will have the real part and the imaginary part. So they will have the real part and the imaginary part. So these numbers are not very much used in the industry. Okay, so we can also ignore them. But for now, what you have to understand? We have to understand that they are which numbers? They are they are complex numbers. They are which numbers? Complex numbers. Okay. Next thing, when we are trying to understand what are they are the character literals. They are character literals. So what are character literals, sir? The characters. Now A B C D 0 to 9. What are all these? All these are characters only. All these are what? Characters. So these characters, you generally keep it in quotes. You generally keep it in quotes. So if you are keeping them in quotes, those are called as strings. Those are called as what? Strings. So character, or you can say string literals. Okay, again we'll have to come back to all these things. Okay, so that is the advantage of Python. So everything will be like a cycle. Everything will be coming back for us. Okay. Then again we will have a discussion on it. Then we talked about Boolean literals. So what are Boolean literals? Only two values. What are they? True and false. True and false. So don't keep them under the quotes. If we keep them under the quote, what happens? If you keep them under the quote, what happens? They will become string. They will become string. So you don't have to put them under the quotes. You don't have to put them under the quotes. Is that clear? Okay. And finally, we have none. Which literal? Non literal. So non literal means nothing. Non literal means nothing. This also how to use, where to use, and all I'll tell you. Okay. Now what I told you, these are the, now for example, you take 489. What is 489? Integer literal. Okay. Now you take 3.97, float point literal. Okay. Now you take true, Boolean. Don't say it as a string. So when I can say is a string, so when you put it under the quotes. Now for example, false, I kept it under the quotes. Now this is a string. This is a string. Okay. Then I will have something like Python. What is this? This is also a string. str we generally say. Okay. Then we have none. So these are all the data members in the program. What are all this? Data members in the program. Now, data members must be assigned into placeholders. Must be assigned into what? Placeholders. So that placeholders we will call it as variables. So what is the next topic? Variables. So what are variables, sir? In short, they are the placeholders which will hold the data. Which will hold the data. Now, for example, I'll say V1. What is V1? 489. So V1 is nothing but a variable which is holding a value, which is holding a value. So V1 489. Okay. Then V2 3.97. Now V3, V4, V5. What are all this? What are all this? These are variables. What are variables? Now, for example, if I take your data, okay, suppose if I want to take your data in the form, so I will say name, class, okay, phone number. So what are these? These are variables. These are what? Variables. So for everyone, name, class, phone will be same. But what will be changing? Data will be changing. Is that clear? So name, class, phone, these are the variables. These are the variables. So they will hold on your data. They'll hold on your data. So in the name, you have something. In class, you have something. In phone, you have something. Yes or no? So that something is nothing but the data. Is that clear? Okay. And the third very important thing for a program is data type. So what is the next important thing for a program? The next important thing is nothing but a data type. So whatever data you are using in the program, everything will have a type. Everything will have a type. So whatever data you are using in the program, everything will have a type. Am I clear with my point? Everything will have what? Everything will have a type. So without type, there is nothing in programming. Everyone will have a type. Data will also have a type. So future you are using some components. Every component will have some type. Every component will have some type. So you are using print. Print is a function type. Yes, getting my point? So slowly you will be using classes, you will be using so many other things. Is that clear? Okay. Now, next topic and the very important topic of the day is data types in Python. Data types in Python. So officially, up to now, we did not write any program. So all the programs that we wrote, that like for understanding the concept of programming, understanding the concept of program. So what we will do is, once we know the data types, once we know the data types, then we'll again write those programs. Right? Understanding my point or not? So once we understand these data types, we will be ready with the data. We'll be ready with the data. So once we are ready with the data, we can revisit those programs. Now you will have a complete understanding. This is a Python program. So in Python program, these are the things to be used. This is called as this is called as that. Again, You will understand everything from the Python program point of view. Is it clear? Okay. Now, what is data type? What is the definition I can give? A data type, a data type is a component. A data type is a component that will that will tell us about tell us about the type of the data that will tell us about the type of the data. Okay. Now, when I created data type yesterday, I mean, when I created data yesterday, okay, I'll come back here. When I created this data yesterday, so I created v1 is equal to something, v2 is equal to something, and all. Now, here, if you observe, what is v1? Variable. What is size? Size will tell you. Size will tell you. Is it a single unit or multiple units? Data will be categorized into two basically: single units, multiple units. So single unit data, what are the single unit data here? 89, 56.24, 4 minus 2j, true, and none type object. All of them are single units, and one and only one multiple unit you are looking at here, which is Java. Now what are these are then? Okay, now read this line once. A data type is a component that will tell us about the type of the data. 89, what type? Int type. 56.2, which type? Float type. For 4 minus 2j, what type? Complex type. Java, what type? String type. True, what type? Bool type. None type object, what type? None type object. Is this crystal clear? Data type means what? Data type means the data type is nothing but a component which will tell you about the type of the data. 89, which type? 56.24, which type? So that will tell you the type basically. Is this clear? What is data type? You clearly understood now. What is data type? It is nothing but a component that will tell us about the type of the data. It is as simple as that. Is it crystal clear until now? Yes. Okay. Now, what I was trying to say that the data types are put into two major categories: single type, multiple type. Single type, multiple type. So, single type data types, and multiple type data types. Yes. Okay. In Python, the data types are divided into two major categories. Two major categories. So first one, single valued data types. What is the first one? Single valued data types. Next one, multi-valued data types. What is the first one? Single valued data types. What is the second one? Multi-valued data types. Is this clear? What is the first one? Single value data types, and next one is multi-value data types. Again, we will talk about the single valued. These data types, these data types enable us to store only a single value, only a single value, only which value? Single value. So this data type holds only a single value. Yes. Okay. In this, we have the following categories. In this, we have the following categories. Sir, first category. Okay. First category is, again, I told you, right? We will revisit everything once again. Numeric category. Which category? Numeric category. So, what do I mean by numeric category? This represents the this represent the numbers. This represent number. This will represent only numbers. Okay. What are they, sir? Inside you have int, float, and complex. What are the three, sir? Int, float, complex. You see int here, you see float here, you see complex here. Those are the three. Is that understood? What is that category? Numeric category. Numeric category, what are the three? Int, float, complex. You have three. What are the three? Int, float, complex. Int means representing integers. Float means representing float values. Complex means representing complex values. It is as simple as that. Okay. Then you have Boolean category. Sir, why you are not showing string? It is coming under multiple. It is coming under multiple. So we have bool. We have what? Bool. Understanding? In boolean category, what we have? Bool. Bool. Okay, sir, where did I see that? Here you saw it. Yes. Okay. Now next, any guesses? Very good. None category. So none category means you have none type. Sir, where I saw? You saw it here, right? Yes or no? None type. Clear with single value data types? Again, we will work with int, float, conversions are there. So many things we need to discuss. Yes? Okay. Now coming to the next category. What is the next category, sir? Multi-valued data types. Multi-valued data types. Multi-valued. Multi-valued means multiple values. Now JAVA, you have four characters. One or many. One or many. Single is strictly one. Multiple means one or many. One or many. Okay. These data types enable us to have one to many values. Enable us to have one to many values. One, it can be only one, it can be many. It can be many. Is that clear? Yes? Okay. In this, we have the following categories. So you saw only string, no? I mean, you saw only str, but str is only one of them. So we have so many other things. Okay. So they are put into sequential category. What is the first category, sir? Sequential category. Sequential. Sequential means the things are put in sequence. Put in sequence. How sequence and all, I'll tell you later. str, all small letters only. Okay, str. So only this have capital letters, but all the other things are smaller. So list. Okay, str, list, tuple, and range. What is the next one? Range. str, list, tuple, range. So these are categorized into sequential. They are sequential elements. They are sequential elements. Yes. Okay. I told you, no, we will have to again revisit str. Yes, str we will revisit how that sequence is aligned, how that sequence can be used by us. All that we will be discussing. Okay. So I told you data types will go for 3 days, minimum 3 days. Okay. Next is binary category. The next category, binary category. So under binary category, you have bytes and you have byte array. What do you have, sir? Bytes and byte array. Bytes and byte array. Okay. Now again, this second category is not very much used, but still we have to know them. Okay. Okay. So 99% of the time we won't use it, but still we have to know because we are into the course full stack. We need to know. Suppose it was data science AI means I would have skipped it, but here I cannot because we need to know. Okay. Right. So next is set category. What is the next category? Set category. Under the set category, you have set and frozen set. You have what? Set and frozen set. Set you have and you have the frozen set. Right? Okay. Next. Finally, you have map category. Finally, you have which category? Map category, which is nothing but dict. So dict means dictionary. Dict means what? Dictionary. Yes. So we'll have the difference. What is dict? What is set? All the differences and everything we will know. Don't worry. Right? I'll tell you. I'll give you a clear picture of everything. Is this clear? Now, single category. Single category. You have what? Numeric, Boolean, none. Under multivalue, you have sequential, binary, set, and map. So under numeric category, you have int, float, complex. And under Boolean, you have bool only. Under none category, you have none type only. Yes. Under sequential category, you have str, list, tuple, range. Under binary category, you have bytes, byte array, not bytes array, byte array. Set category, set, frozen set. Under map category, you have dict. Now you will ask, sir, do we need to remember everything? Yes. The answer is yes. Binary you can ignore, but once we will study it. Binary you can ignore. Definitely, I'm saying. So I'll tell you which one to be more concentrated on, which one can be just read and leave. Okay, so that also I'll tell you. Don't worry. I'll not say everything you have to study, but all the other things are important. So complex, anyhow, I told you you can ignore. Binary category also you can ignore. Yes, but the other things are very very important. Small differences will be there. For example, set and frozen sets only one small difference. List and tuple only one small difference. So like the differences will be there, which you can easily remember. So don't think that it is tough. It is not very tough. Yes, you can easily remember. Is that clear? But there is no other way that I can skip these things. So I cannot skip it. I have to go for this. Right? So first we will start with which category, sir? Numeric category. We'll start with the numeric category. Numeric category means what? The representation of the numbers. Representation of the numbers. So in that first one we are going to talk about int. So what is int? Int is the representation of integers. Int is what? Representation of integers. Int is what, sir? Representation of integers. So you are representing integers. You are representing what? Integers. Integer. Integer means what? Integer means, okay, once again. Integer is nothing but an integer is a number without what? Without a decimal point. Without decimal point, it has or it is a single number. It is a single number with a single part. Single part. What is that part, sir? Anyone remember? What is that part? Integer part, which is nothing but IP. It is nothing but IP. Okay, so what IP, sir? IP is the integer part. Now, for example, take a number something like 489. What is this? Integer. Why, sir, you are calling it as integer? It is not having a decimal point, point number one, and is a single number, point number two, and it has only one part, which is integer part. Is that clear? Yes. Now you'll understand why integer part, why I am explaining you in integer part and all. Okay, because at the time of conversion you will know. Is that clear? Okay. Next, coming to the float part. What is float, sir? Float is nothing but representation of Okay, so representation of float based values or fractional values. Okay, so you can also call them as fractional values. Okay, a float is a number with a decimal point. It is a single number with three parts. With three parts. Three parts: integer part, decimal point, which is dp, and the part fractional part which is known as fp. Okay, now let's understand. Let's take an example. Now let's say I will go for 3.89. What is 3.89, sir? This is integer part, and this is decimal point, and this is the fractional part. Is this crystal clear? Yes? Okay. Now, the important part here: conversions. Numeric category. Conversions of what? Numeric category. Conversions of numeric category. We are going to convert now. We are going to convert. So, first one is float. What we are going to do now? We are converting float to int. Now, literally speaking, float to int means what? Three parts into one part. It is as simple as that. Three parts into one part. Yes? Okay. How it can be done? It can be done by using a function. So, what is function, sir? Function means some predefined task. Function means what? Some predefined task. So we have a predefined task. We have a predefined task. Now print is there. What is print? Print is a function. What is the task of predefine? What is the task of print? Print is to print something. That is the task. Print. Now float to int also it can be done by using a function float of integer value. Okay, so how you have to use that? You have to use it like float and integer value. Okay, now how you are using print actually? So print a, you are saying now a is equal to 5. If you are saying print of a, what will be printed? 5 will be printed. What is print doing? Print is printing. What is print doing? Print is printing something. What will float do? Float will do the conversion. Is this crystal clear? Float is already written. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to write any program or anything. You just have to use float of. Float of integer value. You provide an integer value and you provide float of that integer value will be converted into float. Yes or no? The integer value will be converted into float. Okay. Okay, float to int I said. Huh? Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll change the left side. So into to float. So this will be better. So all the discussion will not go waste. Okay, it can be done by using a function called float of int value. The discussion is same. Only the thing is we are converting to float into to. So into to float in the sense you are converting single part to three parts. Single part to three parts. So the reverse I said actually. Okay, sorry for that. Now point is what we are doing here? We are converting into to float, integer value to float. Okay. Now let's understand this. Okay. This then we will talk about the program. Now what I have to take? I have to take the int value first. Okay. Let's say I have taken some 47. Okay. Now what I have to do? I have to say float of a. Very good. Don't say 47. Don't use 47 every time. Use its placeholder. Use its placeholder. Always remember that. Yes, in programming, you don't have to use the data directly. You can use its placeholder. What is placeholder called? Variable. Use its variable. Okay, float of a. Now, how many parts are this one? Only integer parts. Now, actually, float is how many parts? Okay. Now, integer part will come as it is. Exactly. Now there is no dot, there is no fractional part, but float has it. So what will float do? Float will assign them. Float will assign them. So what float has done now? Float has assigned the other two parts. What are the other two parts? Decimal point and the fractional part. Is this clear? Understood now? So what this function is doing? This function is converting the int value to float value. What was the int value? 47. 47 means only having integer part. But what the float part will have? Float part will have the integer part, decimal point, and the fractional part. But as I am getting only the integer parts, the other parts have to be given by this function. Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay. Now I will store this in. Now tell me, how can I write the code for this? A is equal to 47. B is equal to float of A. Very good. This is the power of already writing some. So B is equal to float of A. So next I am printing A also, and I am printing B also. Now tell me the output print of A. 47. Why sir? A is not changed. A is not changed. So A, float of A you said, and you assign that into B, no? So A is not changed. A is as it is. A is as it is. Now flow print of B, 47.0. Now you don't need any software also for this kind of program, because once you understand the things, it is easy for you to easily go through it. No need of software also. Getting my point or not? Okay. Now anyhow we need to check it. So we will do it. So A is equal to 47. Now I said what? B is equal to of, so float of A. B is equal to float of A. So here I will say print of A, and here I will say print of B. Now tell me what will be done here. A has become 47. B is equal to float of A in the sense it has become 47.0. Did you observe? Yes or no? Yes. Did I say B is equal to 47.0? No. What I did? I said B is equal to float of A. A you convert into float and assign into B. We are giving it an instruction. We are giving it as instruction. Yes or no? What is a program? Program is nothing but set of instructions along with the data. Yes or no? We are giving instruction. What is the instruction? Hey boss, you convert into float and get assigned into A. Sir, A I want to change means what I can do? I can say A is equal to float of A. A is equal to float of A. So then what will happen? A value will be changed. If you don't give anything, it won't change. If you give the instruction, then only it will change. Am I crystal clear? Yes? Okay, let me run this and put it over here. Okay, so this is the code part. This is the understanding part, and this is the code part. Clear now? Yes or no? So that's how you convert into two floats. Is that clear? Okay. Now next, which is what? float to int. Okay, what is your common sense saying? What is your common sense saying? So this can be done by using int of float value. Common sense, that's it. Once we understand one concept, the other concept will be almost the same. But the only thing is the properties will change. That's it. Okay. What I can do here? This can be done by using, tell me, int of float value. Int of float value. So this can be done by the help of int of float value. Is that clear? Yes? Okay. Now, again, now what I have to take first? I have to take some x1. So this x1 will be what? Float value. Okay. 4.37, let's say. Okay. Now what I have to do? Into x2, I have to say int of x1. Now tell me what happens? X2 will be what? X2 is equal to something. Oh, no? Okay. So x2 is equal to int of x1. Now what is this part? Integer part. What is this part? What is this part? Fractional. Is this clear? So integer part, decimal point, and the fractional part. X2 is equal to int of x1 means what you should get here? You should get part. You should get only the integer part. What is the integer part? 4. Then what about 0.37? Gone. What about 0.37? 0.37 will not be coming over here. Is this clear? Yes or no? Understood my point? So what I'm talking about here, I'm talking about converting float to int. So I'm converting float to int. So when I'm converting float to int, what you're doing? You are using int of float value. So what happens here? The fractional part will be gone. What is gone? Fractional part will be gone. Yes. Now, for example, if I'm saying 4 1 by 4, what is actually this value? 4.25. When you are converting into integer, you are left with only which part? Integer part. Means what is gone? This power kilo is gone. Yes or no? Yes. But most of the people will be thinking that this is rounding. This is not rounding. Rounding is different. I'll tell you rounding also. Rounding is very important. I'll tell you rounding also. Now you understood this? Everyone clearly understood this? What we have converted float to int. We have converted float to int. Is this clear? Rounding is different. This is not rounding. This is cutting off the fractional part. Always remember this. Rounding, I'll tell you in 2 minutes. Clear with numbers? Complex we will not touch also. No need. Okay, so complex we will leave. Okay, so we'll not waste our time in unnecessary things. Okay, getting my point? So complex, you know, that's it. That is more than enough. Complex is what? Real part and the imaginary part. So we'll not take any headache of unnecessary things. Is this clear? Understood or not? So float to int into float. Everyone understood because this is very important. Okay, so this is very important in programs. So whenever you have float value, if you want to convert that to integer, you can do it now. If you want to convert an int value to float, you can do it now. But what is the problem when you are converting float to int? The fractional part is gone. The fractional part is gone. Okay. Now if you want to round the values, what you can do, sir? So rounding is not concerned with float to int or int to float. It is a totally different entity. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, first of all, we'll write this program. Okay, now let me write x1 is equal to 4.89 x2. Okay, so same number I took there, 4.37. Number I can take, but let it be matching. So x2 is equal to int of x1. Int of x1. Now let me print x1 as well as x2. Now let me run this. Now tell me what happened. What is x1? 4.37. What is x2? 4. Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay, once again. Done? Why x2 value is not changing? Sorry, why x1 value is not changing? Because we did not reassign it. No, we did not reassign. If we reassign, it will definitely change. What is that, sir? How can you do that? Okay. Now let me put this. That also I can show you so that there will be full clarity. So I'll prepare notes. After 5 years also, if you look at the notes, you should understand. Okay, right. So that is what my intention always will be. Okay. Now, what I was saying x1 is equal to, okay. Now look at this. Now only x1 is created. Only x1 is created. So here I will print x1 again. Now tell me what happened. X1 4.37 we created. Then we made some change. Then x1 has become what? 4. Finally, what is the value? Because Python will go line by line. No? So first line, second line, third line, fourth line. So after the end of the fourth line, what is x1? X1 is 4. What is gone? Fractional part is gone. Why gone? We converted into integer. We converted into integer. Is this clear? Yes or no? Pakka. Okay. So this is the way that we are dealing with the what, sir? Conversion. Okay. Now very important, rounding the values. Okay. Now tell me, according to you, what is rounding? Hmm? What is rounding? So if you go to restaurant, if the bill is 297, you will give 300. What you are doing? You are rounding. You are not doing float to into float conversions. No. Are you doing? So if the bill is 297.33 rupees, if you are very strict, you will pay 298 rupees. Yes or no? 298. So why that 33 means you will pay 297 rupees. But there you are not using float to int into float conversions. You are rounding off. In Python also we can use the round. We can use the rounding. So how can we do the rounding? Using round function. Using what? Round function. Now tell me what is function? Which will do some activity. Which will do some activity. Type was a function. Int function, float function, print function, round function. What a function will do? Function will do activity. Yes, float function. What activity it was doing? Int, print, type. It is as simple as that. Sir, can I create functions? Yes, you can also create functions. Why, sir? Why there is a need for creating functions? Suppose you use print, type, and all these things. These are common things. These are common things. But if you are working on a bank project, you are working on some sales project. So did Python people create all those sales functions, bank functions, and everything? They will not. So they will not create any domain specific functions. What we need to do for our project, we have to create. Point clear or not? So we cannot rely on anyone else. We can create our own functions. Yes, how to do it and all later. Don't worry. Is that clear? Functions will be inbuilt functions as well as user defined function. Built in like this print type and all this. User defined means which we create and use it for our purpose. For our purpose. Yes or no? Okay. Now coming to round off. I mean round function. When we talk about round function, let me just give you example first here, and then let's talk about the other things. Round off 5.89. Tell me what I got. What it is giving? It is giving the nearest integer. Okay, it is giving what? Nearest integer. Why, sir? How 6 became nearest integer, sir? Because point 0.8. If it is 5 or more than 5, simple childhood strategy. If it is after point, if you have any value uh, 5 or more, you can get that. Okay. Okay, sir. Now let's give 5.23. It will give 5. Who is the nearest integer? Childhood strategy, I told you, no? Yes or no? Is that clear? Understanding my point or not? Okay. Now, in round, we can also give, suppose, right, comma, okay? So, comma, what I can give is, I can give something like 3. What I did here? Round 56.238974, comma 3. Now, tell me what happened. Now it is not giving the nearest integer. What it is giving? Nearest decimal it is giving. So 239 it gave means it is considering the third digit after the decimal. It is considering what? Third digit after the decimal, and what it is saying? Okay, my next decimal is 9, which is more than 5. So I will increase. Hope you understood my point. Yes or no? If you don't give anything, what will happen? That is what I told. No, if it is 297.98, you will pay him 298 rupees. If it is 298.33, you will pay him 298 rupees only. Why? Because it is not making much of a difference. Something like that. It is as simple as that. Same analogy is here. Is this clear? Round is not only for making to the nearest integer. Round is for making to the nearest decimal also. Is this anywhere related with float to int and int to float conversion? No. When you want to round, you use this. Yes or no? Am I clear? Yes? Okay. Sir, if I want to create use variables also, you can, no problem. You can. Rounding, you understood now? Yes. Okay, otherwise I'll write rounds to the nearest integer. Nearest integer. Rounds to the nearest integer. Okay. And then this rounds to the nearest decimal value uh, given. Is given T is given. If it was 4, okay, one more example we'll take. We will say 238 4 3 437 4 3. Now tell me what will happen. It will be 238 only. Why is it 238 only? Because the third decimal, next decimal, what is the next decimal? 4. 4 means not greater than 5, no. If it is not greater than 5, what it will be? It will be the same. It will be the same. It will not decrease, of course. Same rounding technique that we use in our daily life. Is this clear? Now, this is how we play with the numbers. Yes? Understanding my points? Now, you understood what is round? So, very important question actually. What is round function? What does the round function do? Because in real time, most of the scenarios, right? Most of the scenario, when we get a big number, pointed number, then we need to round it to 2 digit or 3 digit. If I want to round it to 2 digit, what I will do? Comma 2. If I want to round it to 3 digit, what I will do? If I want to round it to 5 digit, what yes, the number of digits increase, the accuracy of the answer will increase. Of course, that is a different case. Is this understood? Yes or no? So this is how we play with the numbers. Okay. So numbers means which data types? Which data numeric category data type which are int float. Int float. Is this clear? And what we discussed? Int to float, float to int. Clear or not? Okay. Next we will complete. So today we'll try to complete the single ones. Okay. So next category is what? Next category is going to be Boolean category. Under Boolean category, what you have, sir? You have only one. Now here also you can do conversions, but again that is useless. Why to convert? Why to convert and all? But I'll tell you one thing. 0 is false. Anything other than 0 is true. That I can tell you. 0 is false, but anything other than 0 is true. Okay, so I'll show you proof also. So Boolean category, what is the one? Bool. It represents either true or false. Both at a time not possible. Either it will be true or false. Is AC on? True. Right? Is fan on? False. Otherwise, it will be true or false. Two values at a time not possible. Yes or no? Understanding my point? That is why we are saying it represents either true or false. Only two keywords. I mean, sorry, only two words. Those are not keywords. So only two words. What are they? True or false. It is as simple as that. Okay, sir. How can you prove? Sir? Now let me use a function called type. Okay. So here I will say b1 is equal to true. Type of b1. What is type of b1, sir? Type of b1 is bool. What is bool? Bool is the data type. Bool is the data type. It is as simple as that. Yes? Okay. Now, as I've told you, 0 represents false. All others, okay. None we will not involve here. So, none we cannot involve in these conversions and everything. So, now int conversions are done by using int. Float conversions are done by using float. Bool conversions can be done by using bool. Yes or no? Okay. Now I will say bool of 0. Right? Okay. There is no limit for numbers in Python. Okay, so it can go up to any big number or any small number. Okay, right. Why true? Anything other than 0, none you leave it, none don't take into the context. Okay, none will not take into the context. Okay, none means nothing. So what is the point in converting? None. Okay, 0.00001 is a minute value of one. No, I mean minute part of 0, but still it is giving true. Yes or no? So that is why what I told you, 0 is false, all others are true. Now I don't have to prove anything else. Yes or no? You don't have to prove anything else here. Because 0 is anything other than 0 is, if you put any number, if you put any string, everything will be true. Is that clear? Only two things. Boolean means either true or false. So other than that, you will not be discussing anything. Yes? Now you don't bool. Conversion can be done, but not useful. Only for telling you this, I have done the conversion, but it is not useful at all. Is this clearly understood? Yes? Okay. And finally, we will close the day with which category? None category. So none category. None means what I told you? Nothing. None type. Okay. Represents nothing. Okay, how sir, how it represent nothing? Please give us a clue. Okay, let me say n1 is equal to none. Okay, don't use null here. Null is not there in Python. In other languages you have null, but here you have none. Okay, so I will say first type of n1. Okay, which type, sir? None type. Point number one. Then, no sir. Then we will talk about printing it. Print N1. Okay. What you'll get? You will get none. Understanding? Yes or no? What you got? None. None means nothing. So if you just print N1, it will not give you anything because N1 is nothing, no? Yes or no? So N1 you are just saying print means it will print that none, N-O-N-E. But we are saying N1 means it will not show you anything because none means nothing. Print means print job is what? Print everything. None also it has to print no matter what. Is this clear? Okay. Now, one common sense question again. Can we convert anything to this type? Sure. Why? Understood my question? Can we convert anything to this type? We converted 0 to bool. We converted 4.65 to int. We converted 4 to float. My question is, can I convert anything to this type? No. Why? Exactly. We cannot convert something to nothing. We cannot convert 4 ni nothing అని ఎలా ప్రూవ్ చేస్తాం? Can we do that? You're understanding my point or not? 4 is something, no? Anything other than none is something. How can you convert something to nothing? Can we convert? No. So what is not available? None type of 5. I'm trying to convert 5 to nothing. So what is not available? None type of conversion is not available. Bool available, int available, still complex also available. మనం యూజ్ చేయలేదు కానీ complex also available, float is available, but this is not available. Why? Because we cannot convert. We cannot. Now you understood why common sense is required in programming. Yes, we cannot convert hmm, something to nothing. You cannot convert something to nothing. Yes or no? Phi is something, some value. So how can we convert that something to nothing? Is it possible? Not possible. Is this clear? So today's class is hope crystal clear, right? So tomorrow the real challenge of multiple types, sequential types will begin. Okay. So this is what for today's session. So tomorrow we will talk about the multiple. As I told you, it will go for 2 to 3 days, maximum 3 days. Thank you. నోట్స్ ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకుంటున్న తర్వాత ఇంకా స్టార్ట్ చేయలేదు చేస్తే మంచిది